This computer. All right. All right, everyone. Welcome to the, I'm starting a little early, but welcome to the Dispatcher 101 training for beginners, live online training seminar. Now, this is for those who are interested in deciding whether the Dispatcher 101 training, our platform, ongoing platform, or any training will be a fit for you. So this seminar, and I use, this is, bear with me too, because this is, I'm using Zoom. I normally do my trainings on free conference call, but I'm using this new online platform, Zoom. This is a private chat line for those who are in it right now, because everyone else would have came in through the free conference call. But this is for those who reached out and were saying, well, I want to know a little bit more about being a freight dispatcher and or a freight broker. I'm having freight broker tomorrow for those who registered for that. But today is the Dispatcher 101 training for beginners. The reason why I say beginners is because it's geared towards those who want to know the basics of being a freight dispatcher, from starting the company, from getting the carriers to booking the loads, understanding that process, talking to the brokers, and even invoicing the carriers after your service is paid for. Hello, Jamie. Jamie's joined us too. Can you talk, Jamie? Can you hear me? I want to make sure you can hear me. And
hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Okay. Can you guys hear and see me?
Yes.
Okay. So the purpose of this seminar, this brief seminar, now I allotted 3 hours, but I doubt if it's going to take that long. I just allotted it into the Zoom space to give enough time for Q&A and things like that. But freight dispatching, from our perspective, dispatching 101 training for beginners, is to show you guys what it is to be an independent freight dispatcher, booking loads for your carriers, how to get the carriers, understand the equipment types. And I hope you guys got the training materials, the free ebooks, the glossary, and all that stuff that I sent to you guys, so we can go through the whole process step by step, and I can actually, point out this is what it is. So when you go to our website here, Dispatcher 101, first you're going to go, of course, to Exodus Dispatching and Training website, and then under the Dispatcher 101, now this is for those who are actually enrolled in the platform. You guys are just attending the seminar today, but I'll give you a preview of what an enrolled member will see. And if you guys decide to enroll into the ongoing platform, you'll be able to access load boards. You'll be able to attend the trainings on Wednesday evenings, the live trainings on Wednesday evenings at 6 and Sunday mornings at 11. And that'll kick back up on next week, Wednesday. I'm still dealing with the loss of my mom. She passed away last Saturday, the 4th. Oh. So I'm dealing with that. But I told everyone that I would honor my commitment to those who registered for this training and tomorrow's training as far as the freight broker. And so I'm going to continue to do that. But if you guys, after this seminar, decide, okay, I want to enroll into the training, then what you paid for that will roll into covering the cost of the training. So,
okay, good.
Yeah, that $99 will roll into, because the training is $299 to enroll, and then $19.99 a month, 1 month after, to maintain access to all the tools and resources, because we're constantly adding to, taking away, and to maintain membership to the load boards and everything like that. So that is the location. Okay. So under the seminar will be that. And if you do decide to do that, just let me know, and I'll send you an invoice minus what you've already paid for this seminar. Okay.
So Charles.
Yes.
So you said that 99 will go towards the 299?
Right. It'll roll right into it. That is correct.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm just.
So the freight broker training fee won't roll into the member fee.
No, because this is not freight brokering. Today is dispatching. Tomorrow is.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think one of you guys did enroll into freight brokering.
I did both.
Yolanda?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so if you decide to do that, that's a different price point. So.
Okay.
But I'll go over that tomorrow for the sake of.
Okay.
All
No
right.
problem.
So with this, the whole purpose of this is, let's see, let's go to business setup. And well, I didn't update this yet. So as far as business setup, so prior to becoming a independent freight dispatcher, of course, you want to get an EIN number and a business license. Those are the two, if you're taking notes on that, those are the two important things that you need to have starting out. You would, register with your state corporation commission, whatever state you're in, you would, make sure you do a name search. So whatever name you decide, let's say, Keystar Logistics. I'm assuming that Jamie you already have an EIN number with a W-9 filled out with your EIN number on it.
Yes, I have my EIN number, and I have my LLC registered in the state of Georgia.
Okay,
so
good.
Is that like the business license part too?
So we need to get a computer.
Yeah, you if you're registered in your state, that's pretty much the business license with the business name.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, as far as Yolanda, I'm not sure if you are at that point yet, Yolanda.
Yeah, I already have a business. I have a Emcee number and ICC number that I need to resurrect.
Okay, so with your Emcee number, is your Emcee number on the trucking side, or are you going after the freight broker side?
It's on the freight broker side.
Okay, so tomorrow we will go over that with your Emcee number as far as a freight broker. So you're applying to be a freight broker though. So you're going to be a broker of property. I didn't want to get too much into detail, but I want to cover the dispatch.
Well, we can talk about broker tomorrow. That's fine.
Okay, all right, that'll work. So if you guys got your material as far as the what I sent as it relates to dispatching, the first module in that is carrier acquisition. So you would have to understand like equipment types. Like what is an equipment type? So you got a tractor, which is the truck itself, connected to some type of trailer, right? So it's either a dry van trailer, a refrigerated trailer, or a flatbed trailer. Those are the three major equipment types. And as far as beginner dispatchers, I recommend starting with the three major equipment types because those are the ones out here that you can find loads for the easiest. Now, I'm not saying it's not to look for loads for like box trucks or hot shots, if you guys know what those are. The hot shots are the dually pickup trucks, the 2500, the Ram 3500s or the 2500s with a up to 40-foot trailer attached to it where you put like little cars on it or little hot shot loads. Those are called hot shots. And then you have the box trucks or the straight trucks, the 24 to 26-foot box trucks to run the LTL or less than truckload type of loads on. So, but you'll have more of a challenge. I don't want to say it's impossible, depending on where you are. Like one of you said you were in Georgia. Georgia is a very freight heavy state, irregardless of the equipment type. Okay. But the reason why I suggest with the Dispatcher 101 training for beginners, the three major equipment types, because when you go to a load board, you're going to see loads for those equipment types all over the place, going to and from. So you can book loads. So if you get a carrier with one of those three major equipment types, you can essentially keep them running consistently to the point where you even can get them dedicated lanes. So, and also too, anytime you guys have a question on certain points that I'm going over, stop me and we can, talk about that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you guys good so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
So
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good on this part. Like I said, I drive trucks too, so I know all about the equipment.
okay. So what equipment type do you drive?
Container.
Okay. So you're power only picking up containers from the ports.
Yeah, well, I'm a company driver. I'm not.
Okay. So you go grab those chassis and then they transfer them over from the ships over to your chassis. You haul them to.
We're on the rail yard.
Okay. All right. So here's the equipment type. So now the next step, once you decide what equipment type that you want to, one of the three that you want to find your niche in and go after, now you have to understand, well, what methods do you use to acquire a carrier under what's called a dispatcher agreement and a profile. Now we're going to go over dispatcher agreement and profile too, as it relates to dispatching. But one of the most effective methods to get a carrier to say, hey, yeah, I want you to be my dispatcher. Of course, if you live within a certain radius of a truck stop, then you can physically go visit that truck stop. If you have business cards and flyers for your company already established, then you can pass those out at those truck stops or strike up a conversation with a carrier, especially if you already are a carrier. Carriers tend to talk to other carriers more so than non-carriers, obviously. If you're a truck driver, then we all can relate to each other. We understand each other's, plight, I guess, if you will. Now, I recommend if you do pass out flyers or post flyers on the bulletin board, you get the permission from the management people there because you don't want to disrespect that facility just showing up and just posting and passing out stuff without them understanding and knowing what you're doing. That's just a caveat right there. The second method is cold calling. Cold calling being on, we use on our platform, we use Trucker's Path. There's a truck search feature on Trucker's Path. And then we also use a directory feature on the DAT load board. It's called Dat Directory. Are you guys familiar with those?
Yes.
Okay. So on Trucker's Path, have you guys ever navigated the truck search feature on Trucker's Path, used the Safer website to kind of vet out the carriers and then try to call a carrier? Have you guys had that experience?
No, I haven't.
I've done it before.
You've done it before?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the person I think it's Jamie that said that she didn't.
Yeah, no, I went on Trucker's Path, but I don't know how to get to that part where I could do cold calls.
Okay, well, let's do this then. Trucker's Path. And then you guys are familiar with the company snapshot on the Safer website, FMCSA?
Yes.
Okay, so here's Trucker's Path. Now, if you are on this an enrolled subscription-based member in Dispatcher 101, this is one of the load boards you will have access to. You can actually essentially create your own free login if you just sign up for it, or you can just use the login that I already have. So when you first log into this one, you have three areas: loads, truck search, and GPS. I select truck search. I'm going to show you the area that you search for trucks. And this little gray box here, I leave all states as a pickup because I want to increase my chances of getting more carriers across the whole country. Now, if you have a particular state that you want to target, like say Georgia, for instance, because it's freight heavy, then you can just simply select that state. That's fine. Equipment types, I'll hit the any to unselect everything, and I'll select van, reefer, and flatbed to select those three equipment types. And then as the safety rating, I'm going to just select satisfactory. Now, the reason I do that is because when you call brokers, and brokers are going to, in the process of booking a load for your carriers, when you call a broker, they're going to ask for the Emcee of your carrier. They're going to look the Emcee up, and one of the red flags that they see is a bad safety rating. So if I only have a satisfactory safety rating, that takes away the chances of a broker not wanting to book that load. So why would I call a broker if I got a carrier who's, or why would I even get a carrier under a dispatcher agreement with a conditional or unsatisfactory safety rating? I'm setting myself up for failure right out the door, right? So right now it's 55. This is a Saturday, so 55 are logged in. If I hit search, that number is going to get smaller because I kind of drilled down and selected specific criteria on this area right here. So 55 might turn into 35 or 20 or whatever, but we're going to see once it gets done. Thank you. And this is just one of the features, right? So it's 21. So now here's the result set of what we just selected, the criteria, the search criteria. 21 all over all the states across the 3 different equipment types, all with satisfactory safety ratings. So you follow so far, Jamie?
Okay, yeah. Is this something you can only look up on the computer as far as like that truck search option?
I think Truckloads has a mobile feature.
Yeah, I have the mobile, and that's what I was looking at for on my phone. But I don't see that option, truck search.
So when you first log in, you don't see it at the top?
No.
I'm not sure if it's on it, if it's app ready then. I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, I was just wondering, because I haven't tried it on a computer yet. I just was trying it on my mobile.
Okay. And then once you get here, you read, this person posted their truck as being empty or available, or they may just be logging in just to look for a load, just to be looking. But it shows whoever logs in, if they got an account with Truckloads or Truckers Path, it shows them when they logged in, how long ago, 2 minutes ago, this company, their equipment type, of course, all the safety ratings are going to be satisfactory, the name of the person and their contact number. Now, if you notice at the end of each one, this little blue drop-down arrow. So if you click one of them, it expands and gives you more data about that particular one. So what I normally do, it usually shows an Emcee or a DOT number. The Emcee is the motor carrier number. The DOT number is the Department of Transportation. Representing DOT is usually intrastate, and then the Emcee is interstate. You can go pretty much anywhere around the country with an Emcee authority if FMCSA has made it active, okay? So I copy their DOT or Emcee, and then I go to the company snapshot of the Safer website, and you got 3 options to look up a company to get more information in order to decide if you want to call this person to potentially pitch to them to be a dispatcher for them. Okay?
Okay, so you just click on their DOT number, and when you click on that number, it'll pull up this right here. Is that what just happened?
No, what I did, I clicked on the DOT. I just clicked to highlight it and I copied it. I already have another tab open for the Safer, the login to the Safer. So what I need to do is copy this and paste this into the chat so you guys can see it or have a copy of it.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know anything about the Safer web. Is that something I need to download?
No, it's a negative. Let me give it to everyone in the meeting here. You see it, the group chat?
Yep, I see it.
Okay, so if you click that link, you can save that in your browser as a favorite, so you can always get to it without having to keep typing it in every time you go to it, right?
Okay.
So the purpose of the Safer, let me delete that. The purpose of the Safer website is to kind of vet out the carrier to make sure that they are not part of a brokerage, because I don't know if you've heard of the term called double brokering. What the FMCSA says, you cannot double broker, 2 brokers can't be on the same carrier on the same load. That's double brokering, that's frowned upon. Some people call it co-brokering, but no. So, and the way to avoid double brokering is when you get a result from this lookup, either through the DOT or the Emcee, you just want to make sure that their entity type, the carrier, says just carrier. Now, if it said carrier/broker, then, and if you decide to go with that carrier, if it said carrier/broker, that means that that carrier is an asset under that brokerage. In other words, that carrier works under that brokerage on the trucking side of that brokerage. So we deal with brokers when we call to book loads. So you can't deal with brokers with a carrier who's a part of a broker. You follow? The carriers have to be independent owner operators. They can't be under a broker's authority. They have to have their own authority. They can't be company drivers under a brokerage, because when you call a broker to book a load, they're going to look up the MC and see that this carrier is part of a brokerage. So they're going to say, we can't do anything with this because it's double brokering. We are a brokerage with whom you're trying to book a load with us, and your carrier is already part of a brokerage. That's where the whole double brokering concept comes in at. Okay? You guys with me?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the information in the Safer website. This entity type, he's a carrier. He has one power unit and he's one driver. So he's one man, he's a one-man team. He has an MC and a DOT. So he's a candidate. Now for new dispatchers, I kind of recommend starting out, if you're very new and fresh into dispatching, maybe going after carriers who have 3 or less trucks starting out. You don't want to target the large trucking companies starting out because you're brand new to dispatching. So you don't want to kind of overwhelm yourself with all that responsibility. And large trucking companies, if you call them trying to be their dispatcher, they're going to test and see how much you know anyway. So it's better to work with like a one-man team who's an owner operator and you just finding loads for them. Or they may be a small trucking company who may just have like 3 or less trucks. Those are the ones that you target. So this is a good candidate right here. This person's in Washington State. So Lakbinder Singh, I would call him, but he probably, I don't know if he would be hard to understand. Let's do a live call. Let's do a live call. So when you call, and I'm going to show you how to talk to the carrier. Now, hopefully this person we can kind of understand. You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Because I don't,
Yes.
let's see. And you can kind of like mimic what I say. You can kind of tweak it for your business. He's in Vancouver, Washington. He has a dry van. So I get all that information before he even picks up the phone. Okay, he's not. Okay, there's Robert there. Robert just joined us. Okay, so if he would have picked that phone up, I would have asked him. I would have said, "Hey, Mr. Singh," he'd be like, "Yes." I said, "Are you under a load or are you looking for a load?" Hey, Robert. So I'd have went through that spiel. Are you under a load or looking for a load? And then we would have continued on with the conversation. I'd have asked him how much money was he looking for the load? Where is he trying to go? I'm trying to fill in the blanks I'm trying to give that carrier a kind of a profile to see how I'm going to look up loads for that carrier based off of what responses and answers that carrier gave me. So, but that's the process there on the Trucker's Path, looking up carriers to call and then vetting them out just to make sure that they're not part of a brokerage. The other option that we use on the training is called the Dat Directory. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard of the DAT load board. DAT stands for Dial a Truck. It's one of the popular ones. I have the carrier level versions called Trucker's Edge. So on here, if you are an enrolled member on the ongoing training, you would access under Tools and then Dat Directory. It's going to open up this area here. In this area, you have 4 tabs. You leave the default tab selected, Search Directory, and you select Research Business Partners. In this area here, the important thing to remember is the company. I'm looking for carriers. And someone said they was from Georgia. I'm going to put Atlanta. Is that close to where you are?
I'm dead in the center of Atlanta.
Okay. I'm going to put Georgia. And in radius, I'm going to put, let's say, 150-mile radius. I'm going to sort it, the results by the company name, and then hit search. And it gave me 500 matches.
Okay, that's good stuff.
Yeah, so now you notice this area is blank. So if you click one of them, it's going to put the data for that specific company in the blank area. So you can get this. So this is actually a little bit better because it's giving you more information. Now, I'll show you how to navigate this one. General information, they're an interstate. They have 3 power units and 3 drivers. So they're like a small trucking company, a small carrier company. They haul general freight, beverages, paper products. So it could be dry vans, it could be reefers. Now we will know that if you scroll down to the equipment portion of it, which is, it should show it right here, equipments. So they have 2 53-foot dry vans right there. So you get more data from this one. You can actually call them and get the information from them. So they are a trucking company. All right. You can select the next one and do the same thing. They truckloads, long distance, interstate, one driver, 1 truck, general freight. So it might be a dry van. Let's go down to equipment. Sole proprietor got 1 dry van. So usually the commodity that they're hauling, the freight that's on the truck, which is in this area right here, the commodities. So all commodity means is what you're hauling on that truck, on that trailer. Whatever's being hauled on the trailer. In this case, is general freight. So generally, dry van, general freight goes on dry van trailers. It can go on reefer trailers too if you turn your reefer unit off. You shut the TCU off and use it as a dry van. So you can put general freight on a flatbed as well if you strap it in properly. So, but this area, the purpose of here is that this is just a search area for seeing if you want to call certain carriers in your area. So this is Atlanta, Georgia, within 150-mile radius, if I remember correctly, that we put in the search criteria. So you got South Carolina's within that range. North Carolina's within 150 mile. This area, North Carolina's within 150-mile range. So let's decrease that. Let's see if we can edit that and decrease that search to just in the, let's say 100 miles or 50 miles. So carrier. Now, if you were a broker, like in Yolanda for the broker training mile, we can use this resource too to look for shippers, because brokers, you're going to be looking for shippers to get under a broker shipper agreement so you can move their loads as a broker. So you would search for shippers and in whatever area you want to start off with. Usually it's where you're based out of as a broker. That's the good starting point. So. Okay. But let's go back to the carrier. Since we are dispatchers, we look for carriers. So, and we say Atlanta. Georgia. And let's decrease the radius to, let's say 50 miles within. So now it's mainly Georgia, cities around Georgia, around Atlanta within 50 miles. Decatur, Georgia. So if you live in the Atlanta area, you're pretty much familiar with Decatur, right? So Covington, Conyers, Grayson, Clarkston, Marietta. So those areas, if you're from the Atlanta area, you're familiar with those surrounding cities. So you can target carriers in your locale and then eventually spread out as you develop and grow and scale your dispatching business. You want to get all the carriers in your area to dispatch for, you know, and starting out, I recommend to be consistent, try to maintain between 3 and 5 carriers, running a few loads a week for them. Then you can grow your business there to the point where you may have to hire people to dispatch for you with your company. But that's how you use this feature here. And it has a lot of data in it. Now, and this is a resource that's on our platform, the ongoing platform that you always will have access to search for carriers, or in the broker case, to search for shippers. So that is carrier acquisition portion. That's the cold call section of it, where you call the carriers. So cold calling is when you call someone you don't know for the first time. So now that person's getting a call from someone they don't know. So how you pitch to them, how you speak to them is important. So let's refresh this. Any questions so far?
No. No.
While that's refreshing, let's go. Okay, cold calling, and then this is actually in the back office of the subscription training. So that's the safer website that we looked at. Of course, then the third way, of course, word of mouth. You may know people who, family or friends who are truck drivers. You let them know, hey man, I'm starting my dispatching company. If you know anyone who may need some dispatching services, let them know, you know, give me a call, have them give me a call, or here's my card, or here's my website, you know, because when you start your business off, I'm assuming you having a business email, a business website, something that with a professional name, a professional email that shows them that this is a business, this is a dispatching business. So you would name your website and your emails, and, you know, have your company phones to match the whole philosophy of your dispatching business. You will get to that point eventually. What's up, Robert? Robert raised his hand.
Trying to figure the Zoom out.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out too.
Yeah. I had to get in, and I thought I had it already, but apparently I didn't, or I forgot. I just had to do it all over again. But yeah. Is there a possible chance that you can probably do a cold call at this time?
Yeah. I actually tried one earlier. The guy didn't pick his phone up, so that's why I was refreshing my trucker's path to see if we can do it again. So here's Rudy Broadknox. He's a flatbed carrier. So let's go through that process here. He's in White Plains, Maryland. So let's take his DOT and let's go to our safer and put his DOT information in there. And see what comes up. Okay, he's a 1-on-1. He just got his flatbed. Now he may be a hot shot. I'm thinking he's a hot shot, but I'm gonna call him so we can get the experience so you guys can hear the conversation. But he may be a hot shot because he just got his June 16, 2020. And then last year he ran 59. So let's see if whether he's a hot shot or not. So 30177, let's see. And let's go to, all right, so let me give him, and I'm gonna ask, so now you got, if you use Trucker's Path, guys, and you call carriers whose equipment type is in the flatbed category, make sure somewhere in that conversation with that carrier that you ask them, do you have a 48 or a 53-foot flatbed? They may say, oh no, man, I got a hot shot. right there, you got to make a decision whether you want to continue and try to find loads for a high shot, or you just want to, you know, kind of strategically end that conversation. So I mean,
Hello.
hello, can I speak to Rudy, please?
This is he.
Hey, my name is Charles. I'm with Exodus Dispatching. I'm trying to see if you are you under a load? Or are you looking for a load for Monday? Are you under something already?
No, I'm in the shop for repairs right now.
Oh man, what's going on? Is it the truck or the trailer with the flatbed?
It's the truck.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got a 48 or a 53 footer?
I got a 48.
48. When do you expect to be back up and running?
Sometime next week.
Okay. So what we do, we are a nationwide dispatching firm. We try to ask carriers what they want, where they want to go. So normally, I think the rates out here for a flatbed, you can probably educate me on this. Are they over $2 a mile for flatbeds right now, or what is?
It's over $2 a mile.
Okay. So we're thinking $2 to $2.50. Are you looking between $2 to $2.50 a mile, or?
Well, I usually get more than that, but that's what the rates are.
Okay. So we can find you that rate or better. Well, now where do you like to avoid the tolls? You don't want to go in the mountains? What parts of the country are you willing to go to?
Well, right now I'm just running local. I don't run over the road too much anymore.
Okay. You kind of slowing down, getting kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Time is taking its toll on me. You know, I got the time on me, so.
Yeah, you and me both, brothers. You and me both. Yeah, I'll be 50. I drove for 19 years, so you and me both. Okay, well, yeah, I was just checking to see if you was under something, but you're a truck in the shop and you only drive local. So just the state of Maryland?
I do 3 states: Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, some of North Carolina. That's basically all I do.
Oh, that's not bad.
I'm usually, I've been gone for so long, I stay kind of close to the house now.
There you go. And you can still get good rates with short distance runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rates are actually high for short distance sometimes. I tell you what, I got an email for you. I found you on I'm looking at truckloads. You must have an account with Truckers Pad, so.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I got rv_transport@yahoo.com. If you don't mind, I'll reach back out to you maybe middle to late next week to see where you are, and then I'm gonna be looking for stuff in those areas. You said Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina.
Yes, that's where I usually run.
Okay. Do you have a specific type of commodity that you like to haul, or does it matter?
I don't talk too much anymore. That's the only thing that I do. I don't have any tarps. My tarps are dry routed, so I just have to do topless loads.
Yeah, no tarp. So just the straps, chains, and binders, but no tarps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of no tarp loads out here, So, okay, I got you, Mr. Rudy, Mr. Broadnax. I got you. I got your number, your email. I'll be looking for stuff in the surrounding area. No tarps, 250 or better. And I'll be reaching out to you if you don't mind.
Well, no problem. I don't have problems. You just caught me at a good time. I just be happy to sit here looking at the phone and the phone started ringing.
Well, it is my lucky day. Yeah. Okay, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, sir.
Your name is?
My name is Charles with the Exodus Dispatching Services. And it's part of a larger dispatching network. We're trying to bring the good rates back for carriers. We're trying to get, it's been crazy out here now with this pandemic. The rates have been kind of down, but they're fluctuating, but they're starting to come back up. I'm noticing. That's why I asked you to kind of educate me on what you've been seeing so far, because you're out here on the road. So.
Right. Okay.
So.
No problem. And Charles, I appreciate you calling me.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah. Okay, well, you have a good day.
You do. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, and we'll talk later.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye now.
All right, guys. You want to critique that? Those who are listening?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you need a separate business for this dispatch from freight broker?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Unless your freight brokerage has trucks under it as assets. So if you got a freight brokerage and you got a trucking side under your freight brokerage, you can dispatch your own trucks under your brokerage. That's the workaround for it. Okay.
Okay.
So the conversation you guys just heard, it wasn't I didn't do any kind of robotic script. I basically just talked to the guy, right? But certain keywords that were said, it kind of like sparked conversation. Like I was asking him, was he under a load or looking for a load? He said right now his truck's in the shop, won't be available until the middle of next week. Then I got some data from him, which I was kind of like doing some kind of profiling. I was profiling him in the sense that I needed to know where he was going, what rate he was looking for. I asked him what was the size of his truck, whether it was a 48 or a 53 footer. So I took notes. So what I can do next is literally go to a load board and let's look up. We might as well have a class on that. Let's look up what areas he wanted to go to, no tarp loads for a flatbed, 48 foot, and see what we come across, just to get some experience on that as well. But that's how you cold call. You pretty much, there's some key indicators you would ask in the conversation. When you first start, you say, hey, Mr. In this case, Mr. Broadnex or Rudy, I'm looking for Rudy. He said, yeah, this is he. I said, just seeing if you're under a load or looking for a load for your flatbed trailer. He said, no. So the conversation, sometimes you're going to get guys or girls, there's male and female carriers, you may get an attitude. So in this industry, you got to have thick skin, right? Because the person on the other end, you don't know what type of day they had. You don't know what they're going through. So you have to be like level and expect different personalities when you're dealing with calling people, especially cold call, because again, they don't know who you are. They pick up the phone, they may think when you first start that conversation that they're talking to a broker, because if someone asks me, are you under a load or looking for a load, I'm going to assume that they are a broker. That's why I specifically said Exodus dispatching services, so you have to kind of clarify and kind of open yourself up in that regard so they can get an understanding of who you are and what type of service you provide, and then go from there. So he is a flatbed carrier, 48-foot flatbed. Hey, Robert, was that cold call okay?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm over here at the auto shop getting my oil changed and service and everything. So.
Oh, okay. So he was a flatbed carrier. So I'm in Internet Truck Stop, one of the load boards that I'm going to have to renew this too, because one of my carriers who I have the login for this load board, his Emcee is no longer active. So Internet Truck Stop called me and said, okay, well, we need to just get another active Emcee so you can maintain this account. So I'm going through that process. But I'm right now, as it stands, I'm still able to have a login for this one. So Internet Truck Stop is a popular one. So when you first log into here, you can either do a quick search or a new search. I'm going to do new search because I want to select the multiple states that he told me. So he is in Maryland. So let me go to his trucker's path, White Plains, Maryland. I wanted to get where he was based, where he's at. And Safer, he's actually in Landover, so that's his home base. So let's do, so he's in Landover, Maryland. So when you are on load boards, the main things, irregardless of what load board that you navigate, the main things that you need to find out is where the load is picking up from, the origin or the shipper, where it's being delivered to, or the destination or the receiver, the equipment type, pickup date. Those are some of the common themes on across all load board platforms. And then with different load boards, you have other features, but the main features you're going to always need: where it's being picked up from, the origin; where it's being delivered to, the destination; the pickup is the shipper; the destination is the receiver; what equipment type, again, the pickup date, and then some little things here and there. So with this one here, I'm just gonna start with Landover because that's his home base. He's having his truck repaired. And then with the destination, I'm gonna select multi-state. I'm gonna check that box and select the states that he told me. He said Maryland, North Carolina, Virginia, and I think he said Pennsylvania. So those 4 states, and I'm gonna select. And then his equipment type is a flatbed. So I'm gonna hit F, flatbed. And I'm gonna leave pickup date blank because he's just to show you guys how to navigate. It'll give us more options. So I'm gonna hit add to my search and close. So now there are 221 results of loads for that search criteria that I just did. So over here where it says rate, I'm gonna click to sort it by rate from the highest paying load to the least expensive or least paying load. So here is one, King of Freight. Let me minimize that, there we go. Here's one, King of Freight, it's paying $1,400. It's picking up it's a flatbed or step deck trailer, picking up in Kinsale, Virginia, 55 miles, and it's going to Pennsylvania, 331 miles. So it's within a decent deadhead, and it's going to a decent location, 335 miles, $1,400. So let's open this one up. Anyone has questions so far? I don't want to go too fast.
No.
Okay. So let's click on this to expand it. Let me remove some tabs on here. This one, safer.
Well, I guess I do have a question. Do you have to pay for on truck stop? Is it something you got to pay for in order to get to that point? On
my platform or just in general?
Just in general.
Yeah, you have to have an Emcee, an active Emcee to get a login for any load board for that matter, unless it's a free load board. But the free load boards, they don't have more advanced features as some of the paid load boards. Now with my platform, as an enrolled member on my platform, I have about 5 load boards that I include as part of that $19.99 a month subscription base, because you're paying for like a load board that one costs $55 a month, one costs $30-something a month, one costs $20-something a month. So you're getting access to all those load boards because I'm using some of my carriers' active Emcees to give you guys logins. So it's in addition to other things, but you're getting all of that, packaged into one, price.
Do your load boards have the lane average rates on it also?
In some cases, yeah, like 1, 2, 3 load board, it gives you the lane averages. I understand exactly what you're asking. Yes. And I have a resource to tell you the lane averages. You ever heard of trend lines from Dat trend lines?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
Okay, so here's Dat trend lines, and it's let me give you a copy of this into the chat here. This is another link that you can save as favorites. Okay. So there's another one there, that trend line, that link there. So what this does, I'll show you how to use this before we go into detail about that particular carrier that we just called profile. But that trend lines, it gives you the national rates for each of the 3 major equipment types, the van, flatbed, and reefer. So in each case, van, flatbed, and reefer, it gives you the demand to capacity. In other words, the load to truck ratio, and then it also gives you the national averages. So let's do the national rates for a van, and it's color coded too. So if I click the van national averages, so right now the national average for the vans in certain zones and regions, these are the dollar amounts right now. And this is a dynamic website, so it updates all the time with the change of the rates that are going on right now, right? So in your area for a dry van in the Georgia area and that region, that southeast region, if you see that, it's $1.90 a mile. Over out in the West is $2.01. The Midwest states to a certain point, it's $1.96. So if you focused on a dry van carrier, you can keep them running back and forth, $1.90 a mile, $1.96, back and forth, back and forth. Or if you want to send them out further, take a $1.90 load, go out here to this area, grab a $2.01 load and come back, you know.
Okay, that's good stuff. Is this something you also have to pay for too?
No, I just gave you the link. This is free.
Okay. Let me get the link.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. You can click that link, save it as a favorite, call it Dat Trend Lines, and you can. I'm just showing you how to navigate right here. That way, when you open it up, you'll know, you know, how to look at it. It's just analytics. It's just freight and analytics, right? So if we stay on the dry van theme, we can look at the van demand and capacity. What that means is for every one truck in a particular region, how many loads can they get? So we click that, load to truck ratio. Now you got a little legend here. So 5.5. So the darker the color, the darker the shade in those states, the more loads you can get per one truck. So 5.5. So in the state of Texas, you can get for one truck, load to truck. See that says Texas load to truck ratio, 5.5. So for every one truck, you can get up to 5 loads in that state. That's the load to truck ratio, 5.5. So in Georgia, it's between 2.6 and 5.4 loads. If you got a dry van, that's how you read that. Okay. So now let's go to flatbed.
Okay, hold on, Charles. Okay, so you said that load to truck ratio. So 5.5 plus. So that's the truck to how many. So that 5 is the how many loads you can get out of that area.
Right. So on average, you can get, you know, for one truck, on average, there's right now on average in the state of Texas. For a dry van, remember, we're looking in the dry van category.
Right.
There is 5.5 plus loads per one truck. That's the ratio of loads to trucks. So if you took a load from Ohio and you went down to Texas, you got a 5.5 plus chance of getting a load out of Texas going somewhere else. That's how.
And that's a high chance.
That is a high chance. The higher the ratio, the better the chance you getting the load. That is correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. So now if you switch to flatbeds, it's going to be a different color. Let's look at the rates first for the flatbeds. So now look at the rates. In those same regions and areas, they're a little bit higher for flatbeds. Flatbeds and reefers are always going to pay higher rates than dry vans. Dry vans are the least paid of the 3 major equipment types. Even though vans are good rates, flatbeds and reefers are a little bit better. So for the same region, it was $1.90 for a dry van, is $2.26 for a flatbed. And it's 2 here and 2.10 here. So you see what I'm saying? So now if you go back to that, let's look at the truck load to truck ratio for a flatbed like we did for a dry van. So if you click the load to truck for a flatbed, look at that, 18, the darker the state. So in Texas, for a flatbed, so if you get a flatbed carrier under a dispatcher agreement right now and send him to Texas, he has a good chance of getting a load because it's 18 plus loads per one truck coming out of Texas. You see that?
Oh my God, that's really good.
Exactly. And I would keep it, look, Georgia, 18 plus. So I would, if you could keep your guy busy flatbed, running them back and forth from Georgia to Texas. 18 plus load to truck ratio in Georgia, going to Texas, 18 plus, you get a load coming out, going back. I'll set him up on a dedicated run, or I could do some kind of like triangular thing. I can send him up to the Midwest, 18 plus. So I can do a triangular thing. I can get a broker in Georgia, a broker in Texas, let's say Atlanta, get him some lumber going over to Houston or Dallas, Fort Worth, and then going up to Indianapolis to drop off some stuff. So you got, boom, there's a triangular thing right there. You can keep the guy running, and you can just sit back now because you got 3 different brokers in 3 different states. You got one carrier running for all 3. So now you're building a relationship with those brokers. So now, and you're doing that for that carrier. Let's say you've been doing that for that carrier for 1 month, and you say, okay, I'm used to these 3 brokers. Let me get another flatbed carrier and put him in the same situation as that first one. So now you got 2 doing the same thing. And now you just scaled your business. You just doubled your business. So now you get a 3rd one and do the same thing. So now you got the brokers happy because you got 3 good carriers running their loads. You're happy because you got them running dedicated lanes. The carriers are happy because they always know where they're going. So now it's a win-win-win situation. But remember, you have to build to that point first. You have to understand the foundational concepts of being a dispatcher before you can even get to that point where you got, okay, I got a good broker here in Georgia. I got a good broker in Texas. I got a good broker in Indianapolis or whatever city. And you can run them, try, or wherever you want to decide based off of the truckload ratio, depending on how far they want to run. So, and that's what we're doing right now with that triangular concept. That's what's called load planning as a dispatcher. You plan the loads for your carriers. You keep them running. That way, they're not always worried about where their next load is coming from. If you become a good dispatcher, you already have their next load planned for them, to the point where over time, you set them up on what's called dedicated lanes. So now they always know where they're going because the rates are good. They always know where they're going. They always know the route. There's no discrepancies. But again, you have to build to that point. You have to first start off with that one carrier, get that system down with that one carrier, and then put another component in the system, that other component being another carrier with the same equipment type, another flatbed component, another flatbed carrier in your system, in your load planning system. That's how you dispatch. You create a system with relationships with brokers in different areas based off of your, this is analytics. You got analytics here. You found out, okay, for a flatbed, this is what's paying here. This is the loads I can get out of. This is the strategies that I can use in order to keep my carriers running. And I make my 10% dispatching fee or my flat rate of $500 a week or whatever you want to charge, however your pay structure is for your business. And only you know that for your business, right? How you want to structure your business, right? I'm just here to give ideas and concepts and templates to follow. But, ultimately you will decide how you want to structure your business based off of the needs of your business. I can't tell you that, I don't know. So now with reefer, the same thing. The reefer rates. So reefer rates are also higher than the dry van rates. Remember $1.90, $1.96, $2.01, but it's $2.41 now. Same thing you can do with the reefers or refrigerated trailers. Reefers are nothing more but dry van trailers with a refrigerated unit on the front of the trailer to help keep the freight pre-cooled to a certain temperature. That's what the word reefer comes from, refrigerated trailer, just for those who may not have known that. So now with reefers, go to the load to truck ratio, and it should be something similar to the flatbeds. So now it's a little bit lower, it's 12 plus. So now of the 3, so now looking at, from a dispatcher's perspective, looking at those 3 analytics, right? Which one will give you the greater chance of success?
I'm going to go with flatbed.
Exactly, because they got high rates, and that'll be a way to help you target your first carrier that you might want to go after as far as finding your first carrier to dispatch for. You notice that the rates for flatbeds are higher. the load to truck ratio in certain areas are higher. So why not choose a niche first, make your transition into this space of the transportation industry a little bit easier by going after the equipment types that you can find the loads for quicker, because there are loads more so available for that equipment type. And that's how you do it. You know,
I'll have to educate myself a little bit more on that flatbed.
Oh yeah, I can show you with flatbeds. You just got to know, okay, you got either 48 or 53-foot flatbeds. Let me give you an example of what they look like. Right, here's one here, 48 or 53-foot flatbeds. Some of the accessory equipments that you're gonna need, okay, tarp. Rudy, we just talked to Rudy on the phone. He doesn't tarp his loads probably because he's older. He don't want to climb on the trailer and strap, whip that tarp, that 50 to 75 pound, 100 pound tarp, around. But usually you gotta have tarps, you gotta have chains and binders, straps, dunnage, pipe stakes. Those are the accessorial equipment pieces that you need for a flatbed, depending on what what are you doing with your flatbed.
Do they have a bridge law weight also? Is their bridge law weight at 80,000 pounds, or is it different?
It is no, because you can have oversized and overdimensional weight with flatbed trailers. You can do OD and oversized loads with flatbed. So
okay.
So it varies. Okay,
I'll dig into that. I'll dig into that part.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So with the reefer, you got the load to truck ratio is 12 plus. So in Texas, in the same 3 states that we talked about, it's a little bit lower. So obviously, based off of this analytical data, you can decide, okay, well, flatbed seems to be the greater of the 3 equipment types. So I would target that, and then you would start to, you'll go to Trucker's Path. You'll say, okay, since I'm targeting flatbeds, let me just select flatbeds with satisfactory ratings in all states. So you can drill down your search criteria based off of your analytics that you just got from this resource. You can say, okay, I'm just going to target flatbeds for now. And let me target flatbeds and call them specifically. Now, remember, if you use the Trucker's Path resource load board and you're targeting flatbeds, remember to ask, are the flatbeds 48 or 53-foot flatbeds, right? That way you won't be dealing with hot shots. See, Rudy's still up here. That's the one we just called. Speaking of Rudy, let's go back to his search that we got. He was in, let's edit this. He goes to Pennsylvania, Maryland, North Carolina, Virginia. And this is a load board here. Let's open this one up. Flatbed or step deck. SD stands for step deck. That's just a variation or a version of a flatbed trailer. Okay. So his load is 14. Okay, so this is a tarp load. So he doesn't do tarps, so he wouldn't qualify for this load, 8-foot tarps. You got 4-foot, they call them drops. They drop either 4-foot, 6-foot, or 8-foot drops, or 8-foot tarps. So this load needs to be tarp. It's a 48,000, so it's a max load. It's 48,000 pounds for that flatbed. It's a flatbed or step deck. The load picks up daily, so it must be a shipper that ships out daily, king of freight. So it's either maybe some lumber, steel, rebar, whatever the commodity is. But look at the rate, 1,400 and only going 331. So to figure out the cents per mile, the formula is you take the rate that it's paying and you divide it by the cents per mile. I mean the loaded miles. So 1,400, it's paying, the rate is 1,400. I don't know if you can see my calculator on the screen, but divided by 331 miles. Now let's factor in the deadhead. Let's do that. So he's in Landover. He has to drive 55 miles to pick up a load in Kinsale, Virginia. So even if we include that deadhead to pick that load up, we add it to the 331 miles, it's still a decent rate. So let's clear this. Let's add 331 to the 55-mile deadhead. Now it's $386. So let's take $1,400 that the rate is paying and divide it by 386. So that's the 331 loaded miles plus the 55-mile deadhead that he had to drive to that shipper to pick that load up. And it's $3.63 a mile. That's a good rate. That's above the national rate for the flatbed for his area. Remember, he's in Maryland. It's $226. So he got a rate that's paying $3.63. So it's $1 or something more. So that's a good load. If he was to tarp that load, it'll be even better load. All right? Any questions about that so far?
No.
Okay, so we were under, I gave you kind of a more than in that area than I needed to, but that's fine. So we were under carrier acquisition, that's module 1. We went over the types. We went over 2 important types. You got word of mouth, even text scripts and emails are the least ways of trying to get a carrier under agreement, because most carriers are not looking at their emails or text. They're either being talked to or receiving phone calls, being talked to at truck stops. So now we're getting into the dispatcher agreement. So this is the agreement between us as dispatchers and the carriers. Okay, so here is, I don't know if you can see my screen here. This is a template on our training portal. This is my template, my Exodus Logistics, dispatching and training, of what our sample dispatcher agreement looks like, the agreement between the carrier and the dispatcher. So, and the carrier is filling this out, right? So the carrier is filling this out, saying, okay, I agree that, I want this dispatcher to dispatch loads for me, and I'll give you a percentage or a flat rate for that service. So I just put filler information with my information. You will put your information here, your name, your company phone number, your business email if you have one, and your business website if you have one. Okay. And if you have a logo, you put that there, or you don't have to put a logo. It's just, the more professional you look as a business, the more likely you'll convert leads. This is just a lead. When you talk to a carrier and they say, yeah, send me your information, that's a lead. Now, in order to convert that, the more professional your stuff look, you convert that lead into an actual agreement.
So the dispatch agreement that you had up under the download in the email, is that something that like I could edit or whatever and put my name and all of that in? Or
yeah, did I send you a PDF version or a Word version?
I can't remember.
If I sent you a Word version, then yes, you're more than welcome to.
Because I generated my own dispatch agreement. I just don't feel 100% sure about it. That's all.
Okay. Yolanda asked the question, can you use a cell number, or do you have to register your number with 411? No, you can use a cell. This phone right here, 2 years ago, I did all my dispatching with this phone number right here. The phone number that you see in the this template dispatch agreement is the same one I'm talking when I just called that carrier a few minutes ago. So you can use a phone number. You can use a Google Voice number. You can get a professional 800 number that forwards to your real number if you want to shield your number, however you feel comfortable with. The point is, as long as you're able to make that point-to-point communication with that carrier, however you feel you want to do it. You don't want them to see your real number, then you hide it behind a Google Voice, or you hide it behind a call forward number, however you want to do it. So, and if I sent you or gave you guys a copy of the material, I think I did PDF. So if you got a PDF, like PDF filler or a DocuSign or something that you can open that file up with, then you can edit that, or you can just recreate it in a Word document just using my PDF agreement as a template for you. Okay. Hey, what's up, Robert? I see you. So in the agreement, this is where the carrier will fill out. This is where the truck driver, the carrier, the owner operator, this is where they fill it out. They say, you know, let's use me as an example. I'm ABC Trucking. ABC Trucking, which is the carrier, owner operator of truck number 1, trailer number 2, MC number 12345, DOT number 67890, right? Hereby authorizes or grants permission to, let's say, Keystar Logistics. Let's say Jamie's company. Keystar Logistics to act as my agent for the sole purpose of searching for and booking loads, right? That's what a dispatcher does. Process all brokerage paperwork. That's what a dispatcher does. What that means is when processing all brokerage paperwork, when you talk to a broker, you're going to be filling out a carrier packet. You're going to be signing a rate confirmation. You're going to be returning other documents and we'll get into that a little bit later. And obtaining all necessary documents in order to expedite and dispatch either through the phone, fax, email, however you do it, for license plate number ABC123 in the state of, I'm in Virginia. So I'm the truck, ABC truck, for example, right? That's the initial. Now, also, and you can tweak this to however you feel for your dispatching company. By all means, I'm not saying that my template is the end all be all. This is just something to follow and get you started if you are being the dispatcher, right? So then it says, all billing, invoicing, and collections of revenue from the customer shippers is the sole responsibility of the carrier. Remember that, that's important. It's the carrier's job to get paid for them delivering their load. It's not the dispatcher's job. That's not a service that you can decide to do that if you want to manage that trucking company. But starting out as a new dispatcher, I recommend that you let the carrier get paid either through one of the 3 payment options of the brokerage or through the factoring company that they may have. Okay, you follow me so far, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so now this next one, if, let's see, somebody said something in the chat. Okay, just say yes. All right. If revenue, in other words, if revenue for a shipment or shipments is uncollectible, dispatcher, the dispatcher's name go here, will be held harmless and no penalty or deduction of fees is made. So what that means is if the broker or shipper does not pay the carrier for delivering that load, you as the dispatcher will be held harmless and you will not be penalized or anything for that because you had nothing to do with the payment of that load. You just booked that load for your carrier. It's the broker's job or the shipper's job to pay the carrier once they deliver that load. Okay? The carrier agrees to maintain all licenses and permits to conduct. In other words, they're supposed to keep an active authority, all the insurance they need to be active, and a W-9 to be in business. That's what this paragraph means. Everything that they need to run legally, they got to keep it. They have to maintain that. They have to maintain it. Okay, and then right here, dispatcher, whoever that is, will be held harmless in the event of any and all claims. So what that means is if your carrier with whom you have this dispatcher agreement with, let's say they cause an accident or they delivered the freight damaged, they didn't strap it down right, and they get to the receiver, they open up the back of the trailer to offload and they see a lot of damaged pallets and things like that. That has nothing to do with you as the dispatcher. That's why you will be held harmless and you won't, they'll file a claim against the carrier because they're the one who drove that freight from the shipper to the receiver. But the dispatcher is not involved in that. But it's good that this is documented though. So you will be held harmless. Because again, you had nothing to do with the transport of the freight. The carrier did. So right here now, the fee for the dispatching services will be 10% per load. That's just an example. The percentage, you have 2 different pay schemes. You have either flat rate, dispatchers charge flat rates or they charge percentages. So you can either charge a flat rate of $500 a week, irregardless of however many loads you find, or you can charge between 5 to 10% per load. So whichever one works out better for either you or your carrier, however you structure that, that's how you decide to set up your payment, your pricing scheme for your service. So you, as your business, you would have to think that process through. You'll say, okay, if I'm a beginner dispatcher, I'd rather get paid a percentage per load because I'm just starting out booking loads as a new dispatcher. So I may not book as many loads. But as I get more experience, I can scale back and say, okay, well, just give me $500 a week, irregardless of how many loads I find for you. So you can decide that your pricing scheme as it relates to your experience as a dispatcher, how many loads you're going to keep your carrier running under. That comes in time, and that varies. So, all right. This paragraph's basically saying once the carrier is paid, you're paid. And in this example, I'm using PayPal as a payment option. Now you can use PayPal, you can use Square. Some people, I think they're using Cash App, I think. But PayPal and Square is a good way. And then this paragraph here is the carrier is giving you by initialing right here in this red area, the carrier is giving you, the dispatcher, permission and authorization, power of attorney, if you will, to fill out their setup packets and their rate confirmations from the brokers and shippers, as opposed to you wasting a lot of time calling the carrier with every load that you're booking and say, I got this load, Mr. Carrier or Mrs. Carrier. Can you fill out this carrier packet, send it back to me? I send it to the broker. They're going to send me the rate confirmation. I send it to you. You sign it, send it back to me. I got to send it to the broker. That's too much time. And also, what's the point of you being a dispatcher if you're not going to handle all the administrative back office work for your carrier? Let your carrier focus on driving and you focus on that next load. That's the whole point of having a dispatcher. You're managing that carrier. So by them initialing it, they'll say, yeah, I give you permission to do that. Now, when you're signing setup packets and rate confirmations, you're not signing your name as the carrier in the carrier's place. You're signing that carrier's information, the carrier's trucking company or their name on both things, on the carrier packets and the rate confirmations. You never sign your name on that carrier packet because you're not the carrier. You are the dispatcher. Okay. And then finally, they sign it with their phone number and email, put company signature, date, print. And then, so that's the dispatcher agreement. That's what links you and the carrier together. And then what helps also too is the profile sheet. So when you send the dispatch agreement, it's recommended to send a profile, a carrier profile or preference form, however you want to title this. You can say profile, preference form. Basically, the carrier is going to fill this out, letting you know, and you can add to and take away from this too as you see fit. But the more data you have, the better it will be for you to find a load for your carrier. You want to know their equipment type. Do they go long haul? If so, what states? Do they go short haul? Do they do heavy loads? You can even add whether they do hazmat or not, depending on the equipment type. The yellow highlighted one, how much they need per mile. So when you look up loads, you'll be able to find it within that certain cents per mile. And then you won't call them until you find something that meets that. If it comes close to meeting that cents per mile, I would call them and say, hey man, I know I didn't find you a $2.50 load, but I found you one that paid $2.45. Are you still good with that? And if it's still going into a nice area where he can get a load out of, backhaul, he or she may take that load, right? So the dispatcher agreement and the profile. Now, when I send my dispatch agreement and profile out to carriers, I generate an email, and in the body of the email, I ask the carrier when they fill out the dispatcher agreement and profile to return 3, if not 4, other documents with that information. The reason why I ask that is because as dispatchers, when you talk to brokers and shippers, they're going to ask for these forms all the time. So it makes sense to have these forms with you in your filing system. So when you book loads for your carrier all the time, you don't have to be chasing down your carrier. You can just upload the forms from your desktop or wherever you got those files stored. Those 3, if not 4 forms are the carrier's Emcee authority letter. Let's go to the website here. Other documents needed to book loads. Let's go to forms and documents. And on this is my back office under forms and all the forms you need to help you dispatch things. But down here, okay, we got broker, shipper paperwork, carrier packet, rate-com, other booking documents, the carrier's Emcee authority, the W-9, the certificate of insurance, and the NOA. So the Emcee authority letter is showing that it's an authorization letter showing that your Emcee is active. The carrier's Emcee is active. Here's an example of what one looks like. Okay, it's kind of blurry, but you get the point, right? The service date that the authority became active, their Emcee number, their DOT number, and the type of Emcee authority. So for motor carriers, for truck drivers, there are generally 4 types of Emcee authority. You have a common carrier, you have a contracted carrier, you have a passenger carrier authority, and then you have what's called an HHG, household goods authority. The ones that you guys as beginner freight dispatchers will be dealing with is the common carrier authority, where you can haul general freight all over the country. Contracted carriers, when you got a specific company that you contracted with. Passenger carriers are those like limousine companies, those charter bus companies that be taking people back and forth to Atlantic City or wherever. And then the household goods are the large moving companies like the Atlases, the Covans, and things like that. So those are the examples of the different types of Emcee authorities for the truck drivers. Then you got 2 types for brokers. You have a broker of property and you have a broker of household goods. So, but that's the Emcee. That's one of the documents that you want your carrier to send back to you along with their dispatcher agreement and profile. Another one is their W-9. This just shows their personal name and then their DBA name. Let's say me, Charles, DBA, ABC Trucking. In box number 3, you guys done this before because you set your business up. So you understand what a W-9 is. You guys set yours up as either an individual sole proprietor or a single member LLC. You probably check that box right there. And then you put your city address, city, state, and zip. And then for your business, I would assume that you put your EIN number as opposed to your social security number. The worst mistake that I've seen carriers do is associate their social security number with their business. What was the point of getting an EIN number if you're not going to tie it to your business? So, and then you just sign it and date it. So that's other document number 2. Other document number 3, in addition to the dispatcher agreement and profile, is the certificate of insurance. So the certificate of insurance, it lists the insurance company, it lists as the producer. The insured is me, for example. I'm the truck driver, ABC Trucking. Over here, of course, the date of the policy. And then the insurance agent, their phone number, fax, email. Down here in the policy numbers and the types of policies, general liability, cargo, the amounts, the beginning date and expiration date of each of the policies. So you will know as a dispatcher when your carrier's policy is about to expire. So you can kind of get ahead of the curve and getting one renewed. Down here at the bottom, here's the signature again. And then this area right here, certificate holder. Sometimes as a dispatcher, when you call a broker on a load that you saw on the load board and you're booking that load, they're going to say, the broker is going to tell you, we need to be made a certificate holder on your carrier's insurance. All that means is you will call, or your carrier will call the agent and let them know, say, hey, I need a new certificate of insurance listing the following as a certificate holder. And then you give them the name of the broker, their street address, city, state, and zip. That's it. They're going to type that information right into here, ask you, who do I fax or email that to? And then that's it. So as a dispatcher, who do you think that should be getting that, that new certificate holder, certificate of insurance? Of course, you, the dispatcher, because you're the middleman between your carrier and that broker with whom you book that load. So make sure that you're in the middle of that process so you can see all the documentation and you can navigate how you see fit as a dispatcher. Any questions so far?
Okay, I have a question. How can I, okay, so when you're saying upload these, okay, sending the documents to the driver is my problem. So like, is it in PDF form, or because I did this one time and I had a hard time trying to get this sent over to where they can sign it without them, I guess it was Word document where they could actually change.
Right. So what you can do is, if you got a like an e-signature software where you can edit certain fields like DocuSign or PDF fillers, those are two examples of e-signature softwares where you can create a PDF file of your dispatcher agreement and then just edit the fields, or make the fields that you want your carrier to sign, make them editable, so they can just, when they open up the PDF file, they can click the field, sign that information, and then hit submit, and it sends it right back to your email.
Okay.
Right? So an example of that would be DocuSign or PDF filler. So DocuSign is one e-signature type of service where you can, with DocuSign, what you do is you create an account and then you import whatever PDF that you want to make electronically signable. You import that in, and then you edit the fields that you want to make clickable and signable. The same thing with PDF filler. So if you look up PDF filler, same concept. Create, you get the free, you can do a free trial, you can upload the documents, and then you can, enter the URL of a document. So you can actually create a URL and then copy that link and send it to your carrier via email. He or she clicks the link and it opens up the document for them with those fields being able to make editable in those fields, and they click, they can sign it and things like that. So with me, I'll give you an example. On my website, I got a dispatcher. Now this is within the website though. I got a dispatcher agreement and profile on the website for carriers. If they want to do a dispatcher agreement, I got a form on the website where they can fill it out. They can put in the information here, fill all this out, right? Fill all this out, all that, check this box, and then sign right here. See me signing it? See me scribbling in there, signing that?
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna clear that, but I'm just showing you, and then when they hit submit on my web form, it's gonna send me an email alert with the actual agreement filled out by that person. Let me clear that. But that's the technology these days though. You can, take documents, import them into a software that makes it editable, either online or your phone. You got to make it mobile friendly. And then, and that's not hard, making it mobile friendly. You just click a button. And then you save that as either a link or save it as a URL, and then send it via email or text, and then let your driver open it up, fill it out, because they could be filling it out while they're at a loading dock waiting to get either loaded or unloaded. You may have called that person while they were under load at a place. They just had some time to kill. They saw their phone. They said, let me take this call. I don't know who this is. And you say, yeah, this is Jamie, or this is Yolanda with, what is that? Keystar Logistics calling. And you had a good conversation with that person. They say, yeah, send me your information. And you got their email from Trucker's Pad right there. So you just basically open up an email, compose it, copy that link to the email, send. He gets it, open it up on his phone while he's waiting 2 to 3 hours to get unloaded anyway. He might as well, let me fill this out real quick. Send it to her, send those other documents, and there you go. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So that's that. So the other, now if your driver, if your carrier, owner, operator has what's called a factoring company, then you can send what's called a notice of assignment. And the purpose of a notice of assignment is it's like a safety net for your carriers against brokers who don't pay on time. So they run credit checks on the brokers, and then let your carrier know whether that broker is a good broker to go with or not. That's the purpose of the factoring company. So a notice of assignment is the document that if your carrier sends that to you, you send that to the broker so they can fill it out and get it back to you so you can get it to your carrier so they can get it to their factoring company and check to make sure before we even book a load. So those are the documents right there that, along with the dispatcher agreement and profile, that your carrier returns to you. And then you just put it in a filing system. Like with me, I don't know if you can see my can you see my screen? I'm opening up my computer, my desktop.
Yes.
You see my all these folders?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into one, Exodus Logistics. I got 7% carriers, I got 10% carriers. Now this is just raw created on the folders on desktop. So I'm not even using like accounting software like QuickBooks or any kind of customer CRMs or CMS systems. I'm just using raw folders. So I got a 7% folder. I got some.
Hold on, wait, Charles. Wait, hold on. I don't see that part. My bad.
Okay, yeah. So on my desktop, I got folders of all the carriers that I got under agreement, and then I got subfolders for the equipment types, and then their dispatch agreements, their profiles, their NOA forms and things like that. So, but I can just create folders. Now, in the other software that I use was free conference call. You can see it better. Maybe I can share it more on here. I don't know. Let me see. Let me do something real quick. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna show it. That's fine. All right, so now we are at, so once you get a carrier under agreement, you get all those documents back, you put them in like a filing system for that one carrier. So now next, you have to now go to load boards, because now you got a dispatcher agreement and you have a profile for your carrier, right? So in this back office, we got several different load boards. 1, 2, 3, you click over DAT, Truckers Path. These are the load boards that we offer on the platform. That's what I was telling you that. So, and I got videos. I got videos in the module explaining how to navigate the load boards. So you will never be without any questions. Oh yeah, let me give you guys this too. Truck Router. This helps. I'm gonna give you guys this too. This is a free let me give you guys.
All right, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we're going to still work on getting that title, man. So,
Yes, sir. They should,
check Monday. Yes,
Mike's gotten with them so that
I got Robert.
give the official word.
All right, there we go. All right, so Truck Route, I'm gonna copy that and put it here. So now you guys got Truck Router as two. So now with load boards, once you get a profile back, now you need to understand how to navigate the load boards to find loads for your carrier. Remember just getting off the phone with Rudy earlier. He gave us information about being a flatbed carrier, no tarp, 48 feet, going to Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. So I went to a load board, navigated, and found a load or found loads for him, and we just got to decide which load. So now in module 2, load boards, you understand what load boards are, what are their purposes, who are the players in the load boards, the shippers, the brokers, and the carriers. You have different versions of load boards. You have different types of load boards. You have different features on load boards. You have broker level load boards, and then you have carrier level load boards. So the purpose of a load board is where carriers go to either make their trucks available as being empty, trying to find a load, or they're searching for loads. And it's also where brokers and shippers post their loads as being available so they can sell those loads to the carriers. So it's like an interconnected network between the carriers, the brokers, and the shippers. Okay? And the common features, like remember I was explaining earlier on Internet Truck Stop, when we were looking at loads and we were doing a search for loads, the search features, some of the common search features for the load boards, irregardless of the load board version or the load board type, you always want to find an origin on the load boards. You always need to know where the load is being picked up from, the origin or the shipper. You always need to know whether the load is being delivered to the destination or the receiver. And then you always want to know a pickup date. Sometimes you don't have to if you want to leave it blank. Like if a carrier says, you know, I can pick up a load anytime, then you can leave that pickup date blank. You can leave the time blank. But you always want to know an equipment type. You want to know what type of equipment is picking that load up. And then you just hit the search button. So then when you get a result, now you need some details about the load. Also, some common details, you know, what are the pickup dates and times, because your carrier may be under a load, so he needs to make sure that he has enough time and the correct day in order to pick this load up without overlapping with the current load he's under. Let's say I'm under a load right now and it's Saturday, and I don't deliver a load till Tuesday, but you found me a good paying load, Keystar Logistics, you found me a good paying load picking up on Monday. Well, I can't get it because the load I'm under doesn't deliver till Tuesday. So that's the overlap. And that's what I mean from a dispatcher's perspective. So you need to make sure that you are able to find a load, especially if you have a carrier who's already under a load. Make sure you find them a load that they can have their load that they're currently under delivered in time, and they can drive enough time deadhead to pick that next load up. That's the art of dispatching too. You got to be able to factor that stuff in, and you'll learn that as you go. It took me some time to learn that too, because I was doing some overlaps a few times before I bumped my head a few times with overlap loads, and then I finally learned that, okay, if my guy is under a load, I need to make sure that I find loads that once he's empty, then I can find him a next load. You guys follow that part so far?
Yes, I got a question.
Yeah.
Is it important to know, like, if that driver is running off an e-log or if they're still trying to use the paper log? Is that something important for us to know?
Yes and no, because most drivers are e-logs right now. You got some drivers who are ELD exempt. In other words, their truck is so old that they use paper logs. But I say yes and no because the driver should be responsible enough to keep their own logs and know when they can and cannot pick a load up without having to do a reset, whether a 10-hour reset or a 34-hour reset. So if they make the mistake of not keeping proper track of their e-logs and they pick up a load that you dispatch for them, and then they get pulled over and the e-log shows that they shouldn't have got that load because they should have took a reset, that's on the driver. That's not on the dispatcher. The driver should have been responsible enough to let you know, like, I can't get this load until I reset. I can't get it till tomorrow, stuff like that. So yes and no. It's
okay.
I say yes in the sense that dispatchers should understand that process and understand what that means, keeping track of their hours. Drivers can only drive for a certain amount of hours, right? So in you get 24 hours in a day. The drivers can drive. They have 14 hours of being on duty, 11 hours you can drive You can drive 11 hours straight, and then within that first 8 hours, you got to take at least a 30-minute break, right? And then you got to take a 10-hour reset. So that equals, so 14 hours into 10 hours is 24 hours. So drivers should be able to know that. Now, when I drove, I was skating the books. I wasn't under E-log. So, I mean, I wasn't under ELD. I had paper logs. So I was either on duty, off duty, sleeper, whatever. So, but yeah, the driver should be a responsible enough driver to know, because they don't want to jeopardize their MC trying to be greedy to pick up loads, because if they pick up a load they shouldn't have picked up, they get pulled over, they go to a weigh station, and it just so happened to be a DOT officer there. They pull them over, do a level 1 or level 3 inspection, check their log books, and see that they can be put out of service. So for making that bad decision, they could be put out of service and lose money. So now you got to waste time getting a truck to come haul your truck to a location, because that DOT officer is not going to let that truck move. Once you get put out of service, you can't go there. That truck cannot move. So it's a responsibility mainly of the carrier, but it's good as a side, to keep in the back of your mind. Sometimes I'll ask, when I first get into a dispatcher agreement with a carrier, I'll ask them, you got enough? Like I'll tell them, I got a load for you, man. You got enough hours to get this load? How many you got? But that took time and experience. When I was first dispatching, I was just giving people loads left and right. Didn't really care, because I expected them to know that you're the driver. You should know how many hours you got to drive. I shouldn't have to be able to, that's not my responsibility. But in the back of my mind, I still need to know, because I don't want to, be a catalyst in setting that driver up for taking a load that he didn't have the hours to take. But again, it's not the dispatcher's responsibility. It's the driver's responsibility to keep track of their own hours. And I'm not saying that to deflect responsibility more to the driver, even though it's their responsibility. But, so now under load details, after you navigate a load board, you search a load, you find a load, these are some of the questions you will ask a broker to fill in the blanks. So let's say in this example, in the load details of this load from Rudy from earlier, the flatbed guy, some of these areas are blank. So we don't know the commodity. We may want to know that. The driver may want to know that. He may not haul certain things on his truck. He has a flatbed truck. He may not haul lumber. He may just only haul steel. So one of the things we want to ask is, what is the commodity? What's being hauled on the trailer? Any special instructions? What are the dimensions? Is it oversized? Depending on the trailer, like a flatbed, for example, is it too long? Is it too wide? Do I need to get placards for hazmat? Do I need to get a pilot car? Do I need to put flags on it for over-dimensional? Things like that. That's extra money. How many stops are on the load? That helps you as a dispatcher to add more to the rate. The more stops, the more you can charge the broker. The more, or I shouldn't say charge, the more you can ask the broker for, because each stop is going to add an extra hour or two, depending on the equipment type of your carrier, as far as being loaded and unloaded. What are the loaded miles? Sometimes, believe it or not, brokers do this. Sometimes they'll put practical miles and not loaded miles. Loaded miles is down here. So it could say 331 here, but actually it's 350. So even though you see 331, I would still ask them, what's the loaded miles in this load? So if I was to call King of Freight, I will ask the broker questions like that to fill in the blanks that you don't see in the load details. Because with load details, you need to get as much details about that load, so when you let your carrier know, they can make a more informed decision as to whether they want to take that load or not. So the more data, the more information, the more details about the load you have for your carrier, the more likely that they can decide whether or not to take that load. And that's the whole art of dispatching too. You want to be as thorough with that, thorough and timely as possible. What's the rate? How much is it paying? What's the equipment type? So, okay. And that's the load board portion of it. And then module 3, any questions about that? No questions about that part. Now, booking the load is the relationship or the dialogue that you're going to have with the broker. This is the area where when you get to this, say you want this load right here. Say Rudy said, I want that load. I want to book that load. In module 3, you're shown what's the dialogue with the broker. So you call the broker, you call, for this example, King of Freight. You say, yeah, Joshua, there's Joshua. You call him at that number. Say, hey, Joshua, I was looking at this flatbed load going from Kinsville, Virginia to Cresco, Pennsylvania. Is that load still available? So here's the actual dialogue that goes on with brokers and dispatchers. Exactly what I just said. Hey, Joshua, I'm looking at this flatbed load, equipment type, flatbed load going from Kinsville, Virginia to Cresco, Pennsylvania. Is that load still available? Why did I say it like that? Because sometimes brokers have loads posted up here for a while, like this one. The age of this one is 9 hours. This load could have already been booked, and they just didn't take it down from being posted on the load board. So the reason why I asked them, is it still available? They'll check their system and say, yeah, that load, either that load is already booked, let me take that down, I'm sorry, waste your time. Or they'll say, yeah, it's still up there. What's your MC number? So if it's still up on the load board, they'll ask you, what's your MC number? You give them the MC number of your carrier with whom you have a dispatcher agreement with, and they're gonna check their system. They're gonna look at their system. One or two things are gonna happen. They're either gonna tell you, yeah, this carrier is set up with us already, let's proceed, or the carrier is not in our system yet, but no problem. If they're not in the system, they're gonna say, okay, who do I send the carrier packet to, or the broker carrier agreement? Of course, as the dispatcher, you want them to send that to you, the carrier packet. So and I think you guys got a copy of the carrier packet, right? The broker carrier agreement. Right, you guys got your carrier packets with you? Broker carrier agreement?
Yeah, I have mine.
Okay, that's Jamie.
Yeah.
Okay, I think, yeah, I see everybody. Well, I think Yolanda has hers too. I know Robert has one. So if you look through that, the broker carrier agreement, you'll fill it out for your carriers, put the date, the year, the day. The broker will already have their information pre-filled out because they're the ones sending it to you, to your email, your dispatching company. You fill in your carrier's information, ABC Trucking, and then it's some general information, but kind of peruse through it. It shows the carrier's responsibility, what they represent, who they are, and then it shows the broker's responsibilities, what they should be doing as a broker, and what the carrier should be doing as a carrier, making sure that everything's good, making sure that they do their BOLs correctly, making sure that the freight is delivered on time, nothing's damaged. It just goes over the responsibilities of the carriers and the brokers. On the broker side, it may list their payment options, whether or not they offer detention, whether or not they offer TONU. TONU is truck ordered, not used. What that means is if you book a load with a broker and then your carrier's on their way to the shipper to pick that load up, the broker calls you, the dispatcher, and say, hey, the shipper canceled that load. Well, wait a minute, we got the rate confirmation, the load's already booked. Well, you can get a TONU, a truck order not used, for up to, I think it's $250, and then to cover fuel or whatever, and then you just got to find another load either through that broker or through another broker. That's what TONU is. Whether it talks about detention is when your carrier is sitting at a loading dock, either being loaded or unloaded. And in some carrier package, you'll see that detention doesn't kick in until after 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. So if you are if your carrier is docked in a loading dock, unloaded or being loaded for after 2 hours, you know, like say they're in there for 5 hours, something happened, the forklift broke down, they got to get another forklift, you know, just a scenario. And they've been there for 5 hours. So 2 hours is free. The other 3 hours, they can pay you between $75 to $150 an hour extra to the carrier, added to their rate. With me, when I used to dispatch, I did not add that into my percentage that I charged for my service. I gave all the detention money to the carrier because I wasn't the one sitting there at the loading dock waiting to be loaded or offloaded. I figured that's the carrier's money. I didn't want to be greedy. I didn't want to roll that extra money into the rate and then charge 10% for that new rate. So, and it worked out good that way. What's another thing? Lumper. You know, look for lumper information in the broker carrier agreement. What lumper is, LUMPER, when you are when your carrier, I should say, is at a shipper or receiver being loaded or unloaded. Those individuals who are in that warehouse on forklifts, loaded and unloading that trailer, charge for that service. That's called lumper, to load and unload. Sometimes it's rolled into the rate, it's already covered. Other times it is not. So on the rate confirmation, that'd be something to look for. And we'll go over that next on the rate confirmation. But I just wanted to let you know that the lumper fee, you could either pay it, sometimes they'll pay it cash, sometimes they'll give you a T-check or some kind of code. If you get a code, you got to get that from the broker to give to the shipper or the receiver at that window, your carrier, and they'll pay it with that code. In order to generate a code, a broker needs from you, the carrier, the name of the facility, the tax ID number of the facility, and the amount of the lumper, the amount of the fee. So, you guys getting that?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Also in the broker carrier agreement, the packet, the insurance requirement, sometimes $1 million, sometimes $2 million liability, sometimes 100,000 cargo. In this case, it's 150 cargo. And then any miscellaneous stuff, non-exclusive, you can't give away this shipper's information while you're under agreement with that brokerage, stuff like that. How to handle disputes, no back solicitation, you know, just general stuff, just peruse through that. And then, of course, your broker will already have pre-signed their side of the carrier agreement. You just sign, again, you don't sign your name, the dispatching name, you sign the trucking company or the carrier's information, their name, print, their title, owner, that's their title, and then their company address, phone, if they have a fax line. Generally, they do not unless it's an e-fax number, and then their email. And then you send that. So now this is under the broker part, booking the load. So you send that to the broker along with those other documents that they need. Remember the W-9, the Emcee authority letter, the certificate of insurance, and then the NOA if your carrier has a factory company. So now when the broker receives this, because now you're booking a load, remember, if they receive this, they're going to process all this information into their system, run it by their compliance team to make sure that your carrier is in compliance with the requirements of that brokerage. If they are, they're going to call you back or reach out to you, email or however, and say, hey, yeah, your carrier, everything's good. You're all set up with us. That's the terminology they'll use. You're set up with us, or you're good. We can go ahead and continue. Let me send you a rate confirmation. So now they're going to send you a rate confirmation. So this is an example of a rate confirmation, and some of the similar stuff it has on here. Where's the load picking up? Where's it delivering to? The shipper, and the consignee is the same as the receiver, or where it's being delivered to. The shipper, the other word for a shipper is consignor, O-R. It's the same word except for the two E's is O-R on the end, consignor. All right, so shipper, receiver, consignor, consignee, it's the same thing. Pick up dates and times, delivery dates and times, any extra stops, what the carrier is being paid for line haul, fuel surcharge, things like that. Any extra things, look for detention, look for TONU, look for lumper on your rate confirmations before you sign it. Of course, the load number and the reference number. The reason for that is when your carrier arrives at the shipper, they have to be, when they get to the warehouse, they have to be able to reference that load based off of the load number. The number of pieces, number of pallets, what the commodity is, the weight, the miles. The carrier's information, their phone, things like that. Any questions on the rate confirmation? Once the rate confirmation is signed, the load is officially booked. So that's, once the rate confirmation is signed and sent back to the broker, the load is officially booked. That's what I should say. So, okay. And so now you're at the point now, you've booked a load. So now you're now waiting on your carrier to deliver the load. So now you can invoice your carrier for delivering that load. So after they deliver, so when your carrier gets to a shipper to pick up the load, they are going to receive what's called a BOL, a bill of lading. Some of you who are truck drivers, you're familiar with this. It comes in different forms. Either it could be like carbon copy, it could be one page with 3 blocks on it, or however. One of the areas when you get to the shipper, your carrier gets loaded. They go over the pallet counts, make sure nothing's damaged. The shipper signs in a specific area. The carrier signs near that area where the shipper signed, verifying everything was loaded correctly, nothing was damaged at the point of the shipper. Then your carrier now is under that load. It's a loaded trailer. They're driving their loaded miles to the receiver. Once they get to the receiver, and they have their BOL still with them, with the signed, a copy of the signed shipper information along with your carrier sign and its timestamp. Once they get to the receiver to deliver the load, they get offloaded. They go into the office area or the window, wherever, however it's structured. They go over the pallet counts, make sure everything was accounted for when they picked it up at the shipper. Nothing was damaged. Let's say it wasn't damaged at the shipper. Everything still counts for. The receiver signs in their area, verified everything was in order, received in order, nothing's damaged. The carrier signs in near the receiver's area, verifying that, and then dating that and everything to verify that. So now that's it. And then now the final copy, now the BOL turns into a POD, a proof of delivery, because now your carrier has delivered that load to the receiver. So now this final signed copy of both shipper and receiver is now your delivery receipt, or your carrier's delivery receipt or proof of delivery. That's what they use to get paid. They either upload that to the factoring company or they give a copy of it to the broker so the broker can pay them with the payment options. And that in a nutshell is the process. So now there are little things here and there throughout the process, but that in a nutshell is the process of dispatching. But getting the carrier under agreement, understanding how to navigate the load boards and find the loads for your carrier based off of their profile, actually booking the load with the broker in that dialogue, and then invoicing your carrier after they deliver. And then you got a lot of tools and resources, a lot of forms and documents, a lot of training videos to go through to help you in that process over and over again until you get to the point where it's like second nature to you. But after you book loads over and over again, it's like, it's the same process. Booking the loads is the same. The only thing that changes are the carriers and the brokers. Different carriers, different brokers or shippers. So, any questions?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Which one is for the invoicing? Which platform is better? Is it Square or PayPal?
Yeah, with invoicing, I haven't had a problem with PayPal. I got both. PayPal is user-friendly, just as user-friendly as Square. PayPal is just as tax-friendly as Square. I mean, I use both. I use PayPal more so than I use Square.
Okay. I have both of them also. It's just that I didn't know which one to really go with.
If you want to, you can kind of like, if you get more than one carrier, try alternating using one platform over the other and then see what advantages and disadvantages one offers you over the next one. There's another one too called, let me look it up for you real quick. It's a free version, but you can also create an account with it. It's called Invoice Home. And you can also do QuickBooks. QuickBooks has an invoicing feature of it, but here's one called Invoice Home. You can create an invoice online for free, or you can have a sign-in as well. You can do tax invoices, pro forma, receipt, sales, just general invoice. You can create it right here. Here's a basic form. You got an advanced form. You can upload your logo, but this is called Invoice Home. Signature, everything. So let me copy that and put it in the chat for you guys. I'm giving away a lot of free links.
I know this is good stuff. Hey, I got a question. The other the other one that you said you had copied, it had the map on it. I didn't quite catch that one.
The router, truck router.
Truck router. Yeah, was you gonna send that in the chat also?
I thought I did already. Truck router.
No, I didn't receive it.
Let me see. Let me see. I thought I sent that one in. Let me look at it. Truckrouter.com. Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me type it in. Truckrouter.com. Yeah, let's see. Truck router. Where did I get that from? Booking the loads, forms and documents, tools and resources. I think that's where I got it from. Tools and resources, and that trend lines, hot maps. So the hot maps truck router was under. Make sure I still got it. Yeah, I would have to. I thought I had that one. Interesting.
Okay, I was about to say, can I just what's the website for it? I could probably just go on it.
Yeah, truckrouter.com. I can send you that link now. Well, I sent the link to the website. I know I sent that, the link to the website, truckrouter.com.
Okay, I got it. Well, yeah, I didn't, like I said, I got the other ones that you sent to the chat, but I didn't get that one, but I could look it up.
And I thought I had that in there. But yeah, just look it up on the link. It might want you to create a free sign-in before you're able to use it, but I thought it was already there, truckrouter.com. This is it right here. Sign up is free. Join now. Log in. So you got to create a login. Yeah, and then it shows you how to load plan or route. It shows you gas, fuel rates and things like that. That's just it's more so for the trucker, but as a dispatcher, it gives you an idea of what they see. So like right here, that's basically why I was going to send it to you.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, see, I didn't expect the training to go 3 hours. I figured 2. Everybody,
because I had a lot of questions.
no, that's good. That's good. I just see this is a seminar training for non-members, for those who were on like a Facebook chat who were asking questions about dispatch. I said, well, let me do a seminar and give as much information as I can about dispatching 101 to the point where a person can make an informed decision as to whether or not this is something that they would consider wanting to do, or, you know, if it's something that they can, you know, do out here, dispatching and finding loads for carriers and how that process is done step by step. So.
I got one more question.
Yes.
About the back office. Now, as far as like having a back office, should we get our own back office, or should we get in with someone like you to be able to use like your tools of back office, or can we?
Well, yeah, you can either or. You can create your own back office gradually as you see fit. Like when you first start, what are some of the things that you will need for your own back office to begin as a dispatcher? Of course, you're going to need a load board because you got to find loads for them. Then are you going to pay for a subscription? So how are you going to get a subscription without an MC? Well, you got to get a dispatcher first in order to use their MC authority. You get them under a dispatch agreement. Say, hey, by the way, let me use your MC so I can get a subscription to a good paying load board, so I can find you good paying loads. And of course, they're going to say yes. Because all you're doing is just using their 6 numbers to create a login for a load board, and then you're paying for the subscription. Now, mind you, they don't know that you're using that same load board to book loads for other carriers. They don't need to know that. They just need to know that you're doing it. You know, you're using it to find loads for them.
Okay. Seems like it'd just be easier to sign on with you and, I guess, use your back office, because I've tried to do like my own back office. I use this platform. I think it was called Loads Plus or some platform like that.
Okay.
And they wanted me to pay like $100, and they was going to set up the whole software part for me.
$100 a month?
Yeah, it's like $100 a month. I think it's called Load Plus. For me to use their software to have a back office, and pretty much everything like how you have it is kind of like what they have, but you just put your own stuff in, you know, as far as load boards and your documents. It's kind of set up for brokers too, for the most part.
Right, yeah. And I got the broker side of the Freight Broker 101. I got Dispatcher 101. I got a whole, if you notice, Freight Broker 101, if you can see the screen, that's all the content for Freight Broker.
Right. So it'd be better if I just signed on, got on with you, and that way I can have a back office, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. See, you can not only have a back office, but we also have a private Facebook Dispatcher 101 chat group that we communicate back and forth with. We share loads with. We help each other find loads. We help each other answer questions. You know, in addition to the live trainings on Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings. So.
Now with your back office, do you guys keep up with how many drivers we get? Like, can you see like, you know?
No, our back office, the purpose of my back office is just an area with tools and resources to help you build up your dispatching business. It's just a place, a point of reference for you to help you. Yeah, to help you as a dispatcher.
Okay.
All the tools that you'll need to be, you know, to head towards success, to at least establish a foundation to be a successful dispatcher. Everything that you're going to run into, all the headaches, all the pain points, I've already been through. So then I put that in, you know, different areas, tell you what to expect, and give you an option of how to deal with it. You know, and then you can decide whether you want to go that route or a different route. But I'll say, if you do that, this is what's going to happen. And sure enough, it's going to happen, because I've done it several times, and this is the experience that I've received from it. And I haven't seen anything different in that particular situation. And then you come across this area. So say you're dealing with carriers. You talk to carriers a certain way, you're going to get a certain response. You talk to brokers a certain way, they can pretty much feel and see if you are an experienced dispatcher or not. They'll take advantage. They can smell blood. They'll take advantage of that. So Those are so I show you guys, like in the live trainings, you know, we actually call brokers, and I'll set up a dummy. You know, I'll go on a load board. I'll look at, I'll say, somebody give me an equipment type. They'll say drive-in. We'll just look up, somebody give me a city, an origin. We'll look it up, type it in, and we'll just call a broker, just so you guys can hear the dialogue between me, a dispatcher, and the broker, so you guys will know what to expect when you call a broker. You see? So it's just putting you onto the learning curve.
Okay, I'll definitely look into, go ahead, signing up with you.
Okay. Yolanda asks, what are the fee range for the load boards? It depends on the type of load boards, Yolanda, and the features of the load board. So like with Dat, Dat has different load board types. Like you have Dat Pro, you have Dat Trucker's Edge, you have Dat Power. Some load boards are for carriers specifically, the other ones are for brokers. Broker load boards gives you the ability to search loads and search trucks, number 2. Number 3, book loads and book, trucks. So the carrier version only gives you the ability to post trucks as being available and search for loads. That's the carrier version. Let me go back to the broker version. The broker version gives you the ability to post loads and post trucks, search loads and search trucks, because that's the broker level. It's a wider variation. It's more features. Carriers only need the ability to post their trucks on the load board as being available and search for loads that they need to book in order to make money. Those are the only 2 reasons a carrier would need a load board. A carrier does not need a load board to post loads because carriers are not brokers. So that's why you have carrier versions of load boards and broker level versions of load boards. Now, obviously, broker level of load boards are more expensive than the carrier level because they have more features that they have at their disposal. So giving you an example of Dat Power, that's about $250 to $349 a month for the Dat Power version, which is the ability to post and search trucks, post and search loads. So and then with the carrier version, there could be anywhere between $34 a month to about $55 a month. Like I got 123 load board carrier version, that's $55 a month. I got Dat Trucker's Edge, that's $34 a month. That's a carrier version. Because I don't have a broker level load board because I'm not brokering loads. I'm just doing a carrier level because I'm dispatching and showing people how to communicate with carriers and relate to carriers. So, but that's the range is from about $34, $35 to about $350 per month. So that's a wide range, but it depends on the features that you want for the load boards. So, and it depends on if you have a carrier level or a broker level login type for that load board. So, all right. So what do you guys think? Was this enough information for you?
Yes, it was very helpful. Thank you so much. And my condolences. Oh,
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think I had one more question about the tax part of the business. So like, I was told by my business advisor,
okay,
that I should set up an S Corp.
Okay.
He was saying something about saving on taxes at the end of the year or something like that.
Now, so he told you to set up an S Corp. Did he explain in a way that you understand thoroughly why you should do that?
He did, but it's kind of been like some weeks ago. So I don't think he did. Nope. So I'm just gonna answer that direct no.
Okay.
So can you help me with that a little bit?
Certainly. let's go to our friend Google real quick. What are the advantages of S Corp over LLC?
Okay.
Right? So comparing the LLC to S Corp, what's right for you? So S Corp versus LLC. So what are the features of an S Corp versus an LLC? So here's an LLC. Here's an S Corp. Doesn't really, you can set up a separate legal entity required by the state. Shareholders. So you're trying to get shareholders. S Corp has only one level of taxation. What does an LLC has? You have liability protection and tax flexibility. So you have different levels of taxation with LLC. Key consideration, LLC, not the right choice for companies who plan to go public and or do business internationally. Limited admin upkeep, okay? That's not. S Corp, key considerations, not flexible. I don't know what that means. Not suitable if you plan to go public or do business internationally. I don't think we are. A lot of admin upkeep, ongoing need to provide additional documentation. So,
I got it.
Let's see.
I do taxes.
Okay, there you go. Who was that? Yolanda?
Yep.
But then, well, there we go. We got some free tax advice here.
For 22 years.
Okay,
S Corp, if you want to have stock. See where it said out there that you're giving people shares?
So if you want to go public and do a IPO.
Yeah. So that's not, I understand why people say that, but if you're just starting out, that's not something that you need. LLC, by having a business period, there are so many things that you can write off. But I would say that get somebody that can stay on top of your taxes for you if you don't know how, or take some courses for you to, to do it yourself. Because if you don't send anything in, and this is the issue that I've had with truck drivers that I have gotten rid of doing their taxes for years, is they don't want to send in taxes. And if you don't send anything in, you're not going to get anything back. That's the whole thing.
That's pretty
okay.
straight.
So I did the LLC single member. I did sole prop. So what happened was once I registered my LLC and everything, after 75 days, I obviously IRS go ahead and decide for you. Is what I was told, and so they decide, okay, you're already, what's the word when IRS go ahead and decide for you? If you don't decide, S Corp, C Corp, or I don't know what the word is. But anyway, I ended up just go ahead and doing the sole prop, single member LLC. So I didn't know if I made the right choice or not. And I was told I can send in an amendment to do S Corp, to change it to S Corp, but I didn't, because I'm just like, I didn't want to get into any tax prop debt issues, get audited.
I think you're okay where you are with the LLC, especially starting out as a small business, dispatching.
One person. Now, if you were going to do a board and you were going to put your business on the stock exchange, then that S Corp is what you should do. But if it's just you, an LLC or sole proprietor, especially if you're not going to hire any other people, you're just having them as an independent contractor, not as a employee of your company. That's the
okay.
difference. That's
okay.
the only difference.
Okay, thank you, Yolanda. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any all right, so you guys get enough information on this seminar?
Yes, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to go with what you have. I'm just going to do the, you said the dispatch has to go under one company name and the freight broker has to go under another.
Right, because, yeah, you're trying to, because you're forming it, you're forming a freight brokerage, and then you also now if you're forming a non-asset based freight brokerage, then especially you would need and you want to dispatch other trucks outside of your brokerage, then yeah, you need two separate businesses. If you were an asset based brokerage, which means you had trucks under your brokerage, trucking side and within your brokerage, then you can just simply dispatch those trucks in your brokerage as you get those loads contracts from the shippers. You would need to create a separate dispatching company because you are dispatching within your brokerage. So there's no need for that. But starting out, I'm assuming that you don't have trucks right now. You're just forming a brokerage and you.
And I don't know if I want trucks. What I'm thinking about doing it just off the top of my head is getting owner operators on the freight broker side, so that way they can and I find loads for them instead of me having the trucks myself.
Right. So in some states, those owner operators, now you're getting owner operators who are they're going to be contracted under your brokerage, or they're going to be leased under your broker authority as assets. So there's a difference. So, right. So if you are a broker and you're a non-asset based broker, but you get contracted carriers to run loads for you, but just the standard broker, you get shippers and you find trucks to run those shipper loads. That's just a contract between the broker, the broker carrier agreement that we just went over. That's basically that you get set up under the brokers. But if you got a brokerage and you got carriers who are owner-operators, independent owner-operators running under your authority, the broker authority, they count as assets under your brokerage.
Okay.
You see? So it's a difference, but we'll cover that.
Yeah, let's cover that tomorrow. I don't want to get off the subject.
My head's about to
I want to do.
Yeah.
I might do both. Because I can get the loads. It was getting the drivers.
So if you could get the loads for whatever equipment types, the driver shouldn't be a problem, especially if the loads are good paying loads and if they're dedicated. If they're not dedicated, they're just general loads and you get them a lot. Let's say you get a shipper who gives you 20 loads a week for a dry van that's paying over $2 a mile. Finding carriers shouldn't be a problem, right? All you got to do is post those loads on your load board. Also post loads on, reach out to your carrier network that you already have. There's one load board called Post Everywhere. If you set up an account with them, you post that one load, it's going to bounce off of 30 other load boards at one time. It's called Post Everywhere. Let me show what I'm talking about real quick. I'm giving away too much game right now.
No, you're not.
Post Everywhere. So what this does is, this is Post Everywhere. You set up an account, you log in, you post one time, it's going to bounce off of 32 other load boards. Some of them are free, some of them are subscription based. So you increase your visibility 33-fold posting one time.
All right.
Most brokers, when I talk to people who want to be brokers or people who are already brokers, they're not even aware of Post Everywhere. I'm like, really? So, and then tomorrow I'll get into you, like what TMS system you want to use, how you want to structure your brokerage, things like that. So
yeah, we can talk about. Yeah, I want us to talk about how to bounce off of both, how to merge them together, how to get that straight.
Yeah, and that's and surprisingly, that's the easy part. So
okay.
But the main thing, if you have access to shipper, you're in Georgia, right?
I'm in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida. Okay, you're the 904. Okay, yeah. So if you got shippers,
No, I'm just saying I can, when I did it some years ago, getting accounts with shippers it wasn't hard. The problem was let me tell you how long ago it's been. Cell phones were not even.
Okay, gotcha. So you were in an era where the transportation industry was like, it was easier than it is now.
Yeah.
So the requirement, shippers are like, this is what a shipper is going to say. You reach out to them, especially if you're a new broker, you don't have a book of business, you haven't proven yourself to them. Okay, well, what guarantees are you giving me, Mr. Broker, that you can deliver my load?
I got an old Emcee number, so that helps. My Emcee number is 5.
So you're going to reactivate that?
Yeah.
Okay, you bring that up. So that's going to get you past one. That may get you past the gatekeeper, right? So then you can say, okay, what guarantees you give me that you can get my loads delivered on time, nothing's damaged, I can reach you whenever I need to. What makes you different than all the other? This is me being a shipper talking to a broker. What guarantees can you give me? You know, what makes you different than all the other brokers? What separates you from all the other brokers? What service do you provide that's different than all these other thousands of, you know what I'm saying? This is how those tough shippers will come at you. So, right. So just that, and that's how you need to prepare, right? You want to prepare for the worst case scenario. The easy shippers are easy. There's no point in, preparing for them because you already know the answers. But the hard ones is where you need to focus your energies on, especially those, who are you going to target? What industry? We getting into like supply chain logistics, which shipper types are you going after? In supply chain logistics, you got to deal with like shippers on different tiers, raw materials, manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, retailers. You know what I'm saying? All those are shippers on different levels in the supply chain logistics hierarchy. So once you understand that, then you find your niche. Just like with the niche in the dispatchers, we're going to look at flatbeds, drive-ins, or reefer carriers. The same with the broker. What area are you going to, find your niche in? You want to look in your area. Okay, what shippers are prevalent? In what area on the supply chain logistics are they prevalent in? Are there more distributors in your area? Are there more manufacturers in your area? Once you answer that question, boom, you targeting those particular ones that you found out. Manufacturers, distributors, raw materials, things like that. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you got it.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. Yeah, it's more the paperwork side, the having your paperwork ironclad.
Right. So with the shipper broker agreement, you send your credentials to the shipper along with a credit application, so your factory company can run the credit of the shipper to make sure that they pay. Because most shippers pay like net 30, net 45, even net 60, all the way out. Well, it's good to have a factory company. You got a factory. Most brokers have factory. Most loads from brokers are factored loads. In other words, they're not going to wait 60 days to get paid because they got to pay the carrier. So, when you do a broker shipper agreement, you're sending them your credentials, your BMC 84 or BMC 85, whichever one you did for your brokerage, whether it's the trust fund or the surety bond, your insurance, your authority, and then the credit application. They're going to run that, fill that out, send it back to you. Boom, you good. Then they're going to start sending you influxes of emails or with loads, or they're going to do what's called an EDI integration into your TMS system. That's an expensive process, so you may want to start off with the emails with the load tenders first. So, but we'll go over that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's some interesting information. It gives you an idea of what brokers and shippers deal with, and then what on the dispatching side, what dispatchers and carriers and brokers deal with. But it all encompasses under one umbrella, which is the transportation industry, which is a recession-proof and apparently a pandemic-proof.
Something got to be hauled somewhere, no matter what happens.
Exactly. Now, the only thing that may fluctuate are the rates, right? But the freight is still moving.
Right.
That should be, is for someone who wants to start a business, look to industries that are not suffering, even though the economic times out here still are bad, right? People are losing their jobs, pandemic is out here, but like you said, freight is still moving.
Yeah,
So
something got to be hauled somewhere. My husband say that all the time. He's been a truck driver for about 30 years, and he said something has to be hauled somewhere.
exactly.
No matter what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is probably close to the number one, if not number one, industry to be in, especially right now, because things are getting. If you notice, Amazon is building fulfillment centers all over the country. So apparently, they're trying to monopolize the transportation industry, just like Microsoft tried to monopolize the computer industry.
Yeah. We have 4 Amazon warehouses here, and they're working on a 5th facility. And I want to say that's fulfillment. I can't remember what they're going to put there.
See?
But yeah, we have four Amazon warehouses here.
So now, as a potential broker, you can get in front of that by going to those facilities and speaking to the logistics and the shipping people to see how you can help them move. Because I know mainly they're probably going to be dealing with, they probably have their internal line haul truck, and then they're going to probably deal with contractors. So, and I know Amazon is putting like, they're buying trucks and wrapping trucks with their logos. They're even wrapping the contractors' trucks with their logos. So
the only thing with Amazon, well, I think it was a year ago, they only want you to work exclusively for them, even though you have more than enough work.
Right.
But they want you to be exclusively under them. You couldn't have other.
So they want you to do an exclusive as well as an NDA, non-disclosure, all that stuff.
Yeah, they want you to just do. I couldn't do Amazon and Landstar and somebody else. It would just have to be Amazon.
Understood. Yep. Understood.
I couldn't do Amazon and Walmart.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah.
All right. All right, ladies. I think it's just gonna be me and you tomorrow, like, Yolanda. You.
Okay, I'm gonna weigh you out. I got plenty. No, I want to get a clear understanding from you, dispatcher broker, which route. That's all.
The least expensive entry point would be dispatcher. But if you have the resources, start a brokerage, and you, especially when you mention shippers, because new brokers have a hard time getting shippers because shippers don't like to give new brokers an opportunity because they haven't proven themselves. They don't have what's called a book of business. They haven't moved loads, they haven't proven themselves. But there are...
Now that you're saying that, I'd probably let my husband do the broker side, and I just keep up with the paperwork and the tax side of it.
Yeah.
But see, the other thing that I was going to implement in it is if anybody signs up with our company, I can help you on the tax part on it.
Now see that, and that can be an incentive to get carriers to sign up. That can be an extra perk and a marketing tool that you can use to get carriers in. Add that. Yeah. I don't know if there's that like a percentage or a free service. I don't know if you charge a percentage or, but however you do it, structure it, that's still an incentive, because most carriers, like you said, they don't have a clue as far as
they don't. They don't. And like I said, I've been doing that for 22 years. And I try to tell them, I got this one client when I first got him, he made 205. I said, you didn't send in any money? No, I didn't send anything in. So once you get to $100,000, you're in a 28% tax bracket.
Right. So why not write a lot of stuff off so you can lower that, put you in a lower tax bracket?
But if you haven't put anything in, if you haven't sent any taxes in, then you're gonna owe a lot.
Yeah.
Because even if you have dependents, so this person, he made 205. If he had 2 or 3 kids, I would have to write off $160,000
Jeez.
for his dependents for him to get the earned income credit and the child tax credit. So what's going to happen if you want to buy something? So then I have this other guy. He does a lot of truck drivers. He does a lot of tax clients, and because I also do mortgages. So he sent me this person. They made $100,000 doing trucking. He wrote off $90,000. I said, well, they didn't make but $10,000. They can't buy bubblegum. What you think they're gonna buy? They can't buy nothing. You didn't send anything in. So he wrote it off for him to get a refund. He wrote off $90,000. So some lenders look at it, they'll look at it as the adjusted gross income, the bottom line of your adjusted gross income. So in his case, he made $10,000.
Right. So it's how you do it. It's a strategy now. So yeah. So he did it to avoid paying taxes, and he wasn't looking at as far as buying a home or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because eventually you might have to buy another truck if you did all that right now.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we digress.
It's cool. It's cool. It's all entrepreneurial, just different areas of it. Mortgaging, real estate, taxes.
Yeah. And it all ties in together. But a lot of people don't, all that I just told you, all that tie in together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can help a driver get a house too, if you wrote off properly.
Right.
But
See,
you
maybe
can't do a write-off thing.
Maybe you should do an online trucking tax training where the truck drivers, you know.
Okay, I can do that.
Hey, Charles, I got one more question real quick about the box truck business.
Yeah.
So I wanted to use my dispatching business because I plan on getting a box truck, and I seen that you connected with Mr. Morris, I think that is.
Yeah, Sheldon Moore and Tammy Moore.
Yeah. Okay, well, are you planning on going forward in that area with box trucking?
Yeah, I jump in the box truck every now and then still too. So
okay, I was just wondering about that because I mean this is kind of like my startup is dispatching, and I wanted to use this to once I get my box truck to dispatch my own box truck. Hopefully I can start get at least 5 of them and dispatch from my own.
Right.
My own platform.
I'm going forward, but I may not go through Sheldon's course. I went through his seminar, but I'm not pay for the course because I can. I'm in an area where I know a lot of LTL shippers in this area, so I really don't need to go through his course, even though he has a good course and he has connections. But so do I. So
well, yeah, that's what I was looking for, somebody with connections or network, so I can go ahead and get set up after about a year or so.
Yeah. Plus, you're in Georgia, right?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, well, you right there with Sheldon.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But I just didn't know, since I know I'm going to be continue to move forward with you, I just wanted to know if you were going to do anything.
Yeah, I'm going to do it a little bit later, but since you're in the area with Sheldon, I would use him as a resource. I don't know if you are ready to go through training, but you're in a freight heavy area in Atlanta. All I would say is if you are able to get a subscription to either My Virtual Fleet or Selectus load board, you get a box truck. That's all you need. Let me show you. Let me put that in there for you, the link here. So I know I'm about to get some phone calls from people. Why are you giving all this stuff away? So,
I don't want to get in trouble, man.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I tell people I'm grown.
That's right, I'm grown.
So My Virtual Fleet, that's LTL, and then Selectus. Selectus has a little bit more sign-up criteria. It's a little bit more involved in that, but Selectus was taken over by a company called OmniTrax, but they still offer, it's a TMS system, but this is the #1 LTL load board, Selectus, but it's a pain to get onto, but once you get onto it, it's over, so there you go. Okay. So I would save those as, bookmark.
You sent it to my chat?
I sent it to I'm sorry. I sent it to I apologize. I sent it to Yolanda. I'm sending it to everyone. Excuse me about that. Sorry about that. So there you go. Everyone is select this and my virtual fleet. Let me redo that real quick. So you got the select this, right?
Yep, I got that one.
Okay, let me do my virtual fleet. I had Yolanda's up in the private chat. So let me put that up to everyone. And my virtual.
All right, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and even on the standard load boards, you can navigate in such a way where you can select LTL loads. You just select the length. You know how you select the length of the truck instead of 53 foot, you just select 26 foot. You select the weight instead of like 45,000 pounds, you put 10,000 pounds, and then you can search for loads that are under that category.
Okay,
You know?
I had a cargo van driver. And actually a couple of weeks ago, and I was having a hard time trying to find him something. I was trying really hard. And I think I went on 123 load board. I went on trucker pad. And maybe because it was over the weekend, but then Monday morning, I started, getting some loads. He actually signed my dispatch agreement and everything. But
you know why?
He haven't got back with me.
You know why? Because box trucks, hot shots, cargo vans, sprinter vans, it's difficult. I shouldn't say difficult. It's more of a challenge to find loads for them. That's why they're more willing to get a dispatcher to help them find loads than the three major equipment types, because loads are more prevalent out there for the three major ones as opposed to the box.
It was definitely a challenge trying to find him loads.
Right. And I mean that's just how it is right now. But if you connect with someone like Sheldon, I don't know if you're on his Facebook group, the transportation Facebook, but go to
I'm on it.
Look up Box Truck University, also on Facebook.
Box Truck University.
That's an alternative. You know what? I'm giving away too much. See, these are alternatives to other, because there's more than one way to skin a cat, So if you go on Facebook, I think it's Box Truck University. Join that group and you'll get a plethora of free information. So yeah, Box Truck University, VIP network, join it. As a matter of fact, let me open this up, send the link, and you can click to join the group. So
okay, I remember seeing them.
Yep. So
okay, so I need to join their group.
Yeah, so we put that in the chat too. So in other words, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
Definite.
Networking is it's kind of an important,
Okay.
Especially for our communities, it's good to network. So, but you are in an area, you are in the mecca of Black businesses and helping each other. Atlanta, they, from what I understand, everyone tries to help each other down there.
Yeah, for the most part. I'm still fairly new to Atlanta. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I just moved to Atlanta last year, June. I just moved to Atlanta in June last year. So I'm still trying to familiarize myself, and then with working with a local company now that I'm driving for a local company, now I'm starting to learn the area very well. So it's just now, networking.
Right. So if you're going to get a box truck and go in that space, I would network. I would still stay connected with Sheldon and Tammy. They can help you in that regard. Especially,
should I advise this driver of the cargo van to pretty much get him a connect with them? And because I don't want to stop anybody's money. You know what I mean?
Right. So get a connect with them, and they're probably either going to recommend him to upgrade to a box truck if they can find him consistent cargo van, and also have them try to get a something with Amazon too, because you can put load Amazon stuff in cargo vans and get it around, like Amazon Flex.
Yeah, I think he told me he's normally working off the app, so I guess whatever app he's using to get loads.
Amazon Relay.
Okay, well that's probably what he's doing.
Yeah, the apps. Yeah. So you go to relay.amazon.com, download the app, and then put his information in. Once they verify that, then they'll open up their load board to him based off of his equipment type, and then he can go from there. And then other Uber got something. I'm not sure if they got it for cargo vans or Sprinter vans, but Uber Freight. So
yeah, I haven't heard anything back from him. I was definitely still gonna send him out an email to let him know that I appreciate him for, you know, giving me a try and, you know, trying to, you know, build a good customer base.
Yeah, there you go.
With them and everything. So
there you go.
I don't know. Thanks so much. This has been very helpful for me. I look forward to working with you.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I will see Yolanda tomorrow. And then look forward to hearing from you guys. I enjoyed your time. Hopefully you guys got enough information from this.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You can tell you like what you do.
What gave that away?
You can tell you like what you do.
Yeah, I just need
people that like what they do. And if you want me to, I can do a webinar with some of your people to talk to them about how to stay out of trouble with the IRS.
Yeah, well, you can start with me because I got my one last year. I got to restructure my mine from last year a little bit, but okay.
Yeah, that would be definitely helpful, Miss Yolanda.
Yeah. So it's so simple. If you tithe to the Lord, tithe to your uncle.
There you go. Tithe to your uncle. Hey, that should be on a T-shirt.
You tithe to the Lord, send your 10% to Uncle Sam.
That's right.
Because Uncle Sam will get you for the old and the new.
Oh my goodness. Jamie, what's a good? I meant to email you if I needed a good contact number just in case, because I know I got an email, but
yeah, I emailed you my phone number, but would you? I forwarded it to you, but I mean, okay. I can give it to you again either way. 478-703-3207.
All right, so I got Yolanda's, and I got just if I need to reach out to you guys. So
all right, time tomorrow.
Same time.
12. Okay.
Yep. Same time.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.